Let's see, there we go. Running. Hey everyone. Everything. I'll just tweet it out also. Hey Mauster, hey Frank Kurka. I don't know how that's pronounced, but I think. Audios. There we go. Let's get this going there. Hey Samir, how's it doing? How are you doing? How's it doing? May get some audio, I hope, maybe. The delay on OBS right now is pretty horrible. Let's see if we can fix that also. Zoom out. Let's see, maybe. There, the audio is a bit better now. And why is right there? Hey. I'll have to put up with the delay, I think. How are y'all doing? Let's see, I've never done this before, so maybe we can get this working decent. This I can probably show you a bit of my workflow at least. And if you have any questions, you can just hit me up with any questions and I will try to answer them. Use my own sound. There we go. So right now I have this app. I've been working on it for like 2 weeks or something. It's pretty much a to-do app. Just a to-do app to make this like to-do more efficiently. So this is not like the normal way you just put up tasks to do and then you just mark them done or complete. You'll actually have to create task and then put it on a day. And then you will get it on here on task left. You will get a more I can show you pretty much better. Read Harry Potter. You can select it's Sunday today. And let's set the length to like 30 minutes. So there we have a task. And so this app's like primary reason is to make you actually do the task, right? So if I would navigate outside or anywhere else in the app, the timer would stop. And of course, everything is also stored to a SQLite database. Hey Norm, hey Yasin, how you doing? Awesome, thanks Norm. So what I have for this stream is I'm pretty much going to develop this info page. And we'll see pretty much how far we get. And depending on the page, I can show you the design actually. And depending on the structure of this page, we will see if we can implement a block. So I can show you more about blocks. And if it's not that complicated, we just probably use a stateful widget. Hence. So right now we just see if we can get all the latest changes or. So to make this info page, let's see if I got the design up. We have page here. So this is not a final design, this is just a design that we've been testing out. None of us are designers that is working on this, so we'll probably update this. So pretty much this is a task. So another example, as I can show you here, is, for example, if you want to build a table. Let's say I want to do that on Sundays. Like a build a table probably won't be complete in 10 minutes. So the info page, or depending on what we'll call that later, will pretty much be where you can create subtasks. So for example, we can have buy wood for the table, and you can tick that off if that's the only thing you could complete on this Sunday. And yeah, pretty much this is just more for a more in-depth work on this task. So right now I don't have this app on a public repo. Depending on if CodeMagic lets me implement CI/CD with a team, then I can put this in GitHub. Or if the demand is high enough. I don't really see a reason not to do it for me, actually. So let's start off with creating this page, right? So first we have to find this info button, and it should be in check the pages. Have the tasks page, and we have the task card. So let's see if we can find info. Yeah, there we have the info. Yeah, that's actually a package. I'm really bad at creating those custom animating or custom filling texts or designs. So this is just a package. Let's see what it's called. There, Flutter duration picker. But it's really great. Haven't had any problems with it so far. Let's see, we got the task card. We got the Flutter info here. Let's create a new page. Hey Fikri, how you doing? So let's add a to-do here. And go navigate you. We can keep track on that. So let's create a new page. Go with a folder. Let's see, call it. Maybe the task detail. That makes more sense. Create a new file. Task detail page. Or should we call it task sub goal? Yeah, let's call it task sub goal. Go. Task sub goal. Anyone know how to make a file-based chat app in Flutter? I want to make a chat app for group and personal chat. I haven't actually created a chat app. Doesn't Flutter have one of those courses to create a chat app? Or they do, at least. Let's start off with creating a stateful. And we will call it Subtask subcode. Go. And let's see, we have the child. Let's just create a scaffold. Just create the symbol. So simple setup a new page. This is not called the override. So there we go. There we have our page. And let's go to our here. And we're going to navigate to this. So let's navigate, right? Context, stateful widget, stateless widget. We have to pass the context to this. Here, yeah, sure. Ah, bottom right, yeah. Sure thing. Where is the... I can find where I put actually the... Like, there we go. There we go. This is a bit better. And the route. Material. We're going to that moment when I actually forget how to navigate in a page. Sad. Where do I have a example of? There we go. Let's just take all of this. And we're going to push to a page called Great. Can you please increase? Yeah, sure. Let's see if we can increase the... Is this enough or should I go up one more step? What are you doing here? Let's just... twice, okay. Sure thing. Oh, this is so unusual to code with. Yeah, let's do the navigation. I'm pretty sure this is more clean to use. And navigator dot going to take the context of go a page route. I haven't created a one more bump up. Yeah, I think it's the layer page. Missing type argument. Yeah. Go. Close this down actually. See the code a bit better. Here we pass in the context. Just let me know if the text needs to be bumped up one more step. we can see that if it's working. So let's go to task. Let's go to info. Yeah, so we're opening a new page. So first thing we're actually going to do is, I'm thinking if we're going to pass down the index of the task, or if we're going to pass this task directly. Going to try with passing the task directly, I think, because we have that in. Yeah, we have the task up here. Let's just pass that directly down to the stateful widget. So let's create a final task view. And then create constructor. As everything. 2 more bumps. Wait. Whoa. Be enough, I hope at least. Let's just see if we get the right task. Widget.task. And let's take the name of the task. And of course, this is not in the app bar directly, it's in the title and in the text. So let's see if that's working. And we're calling the name on null. Why are we calling the name on null? We are not passing it down, right? Yeah. Task will be the task. And let's make this clean. Probably like this. There we have our build table and we have our read Harry Potter. Yeah, that's working. So depending on the, let's see what we do. So I have this. Really? Let's make this bit here. Probably scrolling this to 100. So let's see. We have our create page, task page. Let's do this bit, and we're going to create a new, which will be the sub goal page. And let's checklist. So now if we go to the design, see if we can work on these two side by side. Go. So what we're going to do first, we're going to add a title. We're going to have a button for creating subtask. And let's see, what do we have more? We have a list of subtasks. Subtasks, and we have a note title and a note. That should be all that we have. And file tree. Oh, great, good. So I will probably design this up, but as I have done with the other one, I will show you right now. Let's see if we get that page. So this is the first design we did on the create task. I see that became pretty repetitive, so I just redesigned this. So if we didn't want one, we can just slide it away. So we'll probably do something similar with this page also, but let's just follow the design first, so we can get something to work with. Yeah, that's the goal of this. Maybe you can get a bit of clear understanding how I work. This is probably not the best way of working as I do, but at least you will get some understanding from it. So I will actually put this to the side, and I will just show it when I work with each element. So the first thing we're going to create is just a title. So let's take it back and we go to our app bar. We can actually remove the task now, or the the title of the task up here now. So what should the task be? It should be, let's put something like right now. Or let's add the name of for the task. So task.widget.task name. And then we can add subtask info. Let's just see how that looks. Okay, I guess. Let's just add info for now. I'm going to have a constant for that. So let's start by working on the body. So the body will contain of, take this. So as I see it, we can either do two things, right? We can have a column to just display everything, and this would be its own list. So that would make like just this part scrollable. But I'm thinking of making just the whole page a list view. So depending on how many subtasks, the whole page would be scrollable. And that could be we can even very easily change that back to the other way around also. But I feel like that would make most sense. And in the end, we will probably move the notes up also. Let's see. We have the body. We will create a list view. Inside the list view, we have children. So the first we're going to do is just going to add some spacing. So the spacing will be something like a constant. And we're going to have something more. We're going to add the title. So that will be a text. And the text will just be widget task name. So that will look horrible right now, right? Yeah. So yeah, I don't actually remember if we have any way of centering anything. Can also put it. If you have any better way of doing this, that's probably a better way, but let's just wrap this with a nude widget and take an align. And we can set the align center. Here we go. We have the alignment to the center, and we're going to add some sizing to it. If we look now at the design, our read Harry Potter size is not close to that. Let's add some style. So the styling we will actually get from the theme. So let's create a theme variable. So theme.off context. We'll probably reuse this quite a bit, so I'll just create a final variable so it's easier to implement. So, oh, will that put it in the middle also? Let's try that. We're not getting. What am I missing now? Let's refresh this. Oh, the parameters padding is required out, of course. But will this won't put it in, right? Or were you referring to this size box instead? I will just put in a line instead. I meant and Yeah, you could use a padding to align with this text. I don't know, I like to use, when there's just a space in between, I like to use just normal size box to add spacing so I can visually see a bit easier. You could add a padding and set it to the top. Oh yeah, that can do also, yeah. Should probably do that. We can add some less. There we go. Okay, so let's set the theme to this text box. So we format that. We set and maximize. Can't I actually minimize it to be none? Let's do that. There we go. So let's add the sizing. So the style will be the theme dot off. No, not off. Primary right text, and I should get that primary text theme dot header maybe. Okay. And that's a wrong color, so let's take the color width. Get something to show. Let's see. That should be enough size. Let's go with that. And I really hate how this is formatted, actually. But we'll go for that for now. So now the more complicated things will be up. So if we check the design, we're going to create this create task, or create this subtask. And we also have this pop-up. So what would be a nice way of putting this? So if we go to our task view, which will just be this task that I'm navigating to. Let's go to the API, models, view models. Because I don't actually think we have added anything. Added any subtask to it. So this will have actually a list of subtasks. Yeah, the theme is really great to use. It can be pretty confusing for me actually to use that all the time. I usually have a styling or a style class also. That's probably not the preferred way, but I just seem to run into much problems with themes sometimes. So what we're actually going to do now is we're going to create the subtask view. If we look at this, we're going to have subtasks. So that's this. Will be connected to the task we're going through. So let's go to. I actually have a drive that will show me the database models. Base. You see here. I have the database structure. So what we're going to create is this subtask view. We can actually take a screenshot of this back here, so it's way of everything. Just open a small paint window that we can make smaller. That. Now I have something to work with. So we will create a new view model, which will just be subtask view. And of course we have to add the Dart extension. So there we go, we will have a class called subtask view. And I can actually already see that I have made some mistakes. I've actually used not camel casing on the T for almost all of my places. So let's start working with that now. Subtask view. So we're going to have a int ID, a string name, a date time, I presume, another date time, and exist. So this one I'm not sure about. It will actually be int, and then the task ID. Okay, exist, default that to 1, and the task ID. Set that to anything right now. There we go. Save that, and then we're going to go to our task view, and we're going to create a list of this. So a list of Subtask View, a list, and we import that class. There we go. If we close this down, and we can have that open. Close this page down, and we close this down. Let's see, we can. So now I have the actual model to work with. So the first thing we're going to do is creating the button. It's subtask. Actually, yeah, let's just go with that. So we have the button we're going to create, which has some space in between there also. Let's add a size box with a height of, let's take 14 for now. And I actually don't want that to format on 2 lines because it doesn't really make sense. There we go. So we're going to create the raised button, all right? We didn't add shadow on the design, but I presume it's a raised button. And as also, you can always like control click and we can see what we are going to implement. So the required is only on pressed. And I usually put the logic of, or the call or logic for things at the top. Then I put the design below that. So we're going to have it on pressed with method just formatting. Oh, didn't I do that? Oh yeah, there we go. So the unpressed, what we're actually going to do, we're going to pop up. Going to show pop up, and it seems to be pop up. Now it can. Let's just add a bottom. It really depends on how we're going to implement that, depending on if we're going to use a block. And it seems like more and more that we're going to use the block I'm already using. And as I saw now, this button is not the right size. So we can wrap this in a container. We set a width. Something like watch the. Awesome. Have a nice day, Norm. Nice to see you here. Good luck on going to the church. See, we set a width to something like, yeah, let's try 50. It what? That's actually not working at all. What the. Isn't this normal setting the that one doesn't have. Let's go see what I've done on the other page. the task card. But I put a container before like that. Isn't it? Let's see. Actually, I'm thinking if we're going to create a column either way. Yeah, let's do that. Let's create a column. That should make us not need this line. And we can set the main or the cross-axis alignment to cross-axis center. Is it the main axis? Let's see. Should be the cross-axis. But we don't have stretch. Yeah, I remember. So main axis size. We're going to have to put this to the max of the width. Main axis size width. Nothing is going according to what I'm thinking, so let's see what we are actually doing. This doesn't make like any sense. See if I've actually done that before. Task body page. A column. Let's go to this task body page right here. I haven't actually made any of this. Don't I need to do that? Or am I completely off? Is it because we don't have a... Yeah, that's the way, that's the thing I'm thinking about. If we're actually going to make... Either we can make the whole page scrollable, or we can make this scrollable, this part where we have the subtasks. I don't really know which one will be the most efficient, or the most, not efficient, but most clean. Because if we make this whole page scrollable, these notes can be hidden depending on how many... Do you have missed that? Awesome, thanks for the subscribing, man. Good to have you here. So the thing we would be missing if we put this whole container or this whole body in a list view is that depending on how many tasks or subtasks we have, these nodes can be hidden down like at the bottom. And if we put this whole place in a column, this would be very ugly to scroll through. So I'm trying to figure out, maybe we'll just go with a list view actually. That's probably more clean. And now I need to figure out why the container taking the whole width of this this list view. So let's go. I can actually change this to sized box also. But why are we not getting the width of If we would make this back to a container, let's comment this part out just to see what I'm doing actually. Colors.blue. So we have no width of the, or height actually. So it actually takes the full width, so it expands to the parent. And do we have anything to item extend physically? How can we file off? So we can add a line, right? Yeah, the container is inherent in the behavior of the list view. So the list view is making it expand everything, but it should work if we so if we put in a line. Yeah, so the align will make the container instead inherit the align properties. So the align will be by itself instead of inheriting from the list view. So we could wrap it in an align. It will make the code a bit messy, I think. We'll actually refactor it as we go. We can remove the color of this. We can remove the height. Just add back the button and see if that is working. So add the button there, and the width is from the container. So let's see what we get if we remove the width. So we get the standard size of a button, which should be good actually. That will make us at least be able to remove this container. There we go. So let's look at design. We have create subtask. But as I see now, the child will be containing of a row. Because we want to, if we can show that again, we want a text, now we want the icon. So let's just show that. So we have the onPressed. Let's add a child, which will be a row. So inside this row, we will have first a text, which will just be create subtask. And we'll have a icon. And this squiggly lines just mean that we can have a const widget because all of this will be constants. And I don't actually know what icon that is. The list. This will be the hard thing to see. Let's just add a normal list image right there. So right now I saw that problem. So the problem of this is having a main axis size, I think. Main axis. Let's look at it. Main axis. What am I doing? To minimum. There we go. So the row will actually expand as much as it can. So if we put the size to minimum, it will still be the minimum size. So we have two problems with this design. The first thing is that we have like no space in between this text and icon. And we can maybe if we can the main axis alignment maybe. This will actually space between as much as possible, and we don't want it either. Let's just show that so I can. It won't actually space anything as we have set the main axis size to minimum, so it will actually ignore this main minimum space or this space between. We'll add a sized box again with a width of something like. To see how that looks. Yeah, so we got a bit of spacing. We could add some padding also, I don't see really the reason if you're just using it to space between two objects. See. So the first thing is that the color is wrong. And if we check the design, we have white color. And that shouldn't actually be a problem. So if we go to style, we take the theme, put on color. Didn't do that right. Makes sense. Primary text field. Done. Let's see what we have. Close this down. Invalid const value. So we remove the const. We can put the const to these two objects instead. So we have the button text color. So for the icon, we'll just simply set the color to white. Go. There we have the icons of white. And we can also see that the bottom is actually having the wrong color. So let's just check this first. So these are white, these buttons, and we have what they are actually doing the design here. Check. And where is it? Yeah, we didn't actually have button before. So for this, and we set the theme's color to a. We have the startup. We get the Quickit app. We should be able to set the color of a button. Yeah, button color Quickit theme dot primary color. So this should set all the colors of a button that haven't. Go back to task, go to info. We'll actually set it directly for now. It doesn't really matter. We have a class for that, so if we want to change it, we can. So we go to the raise button again. So as I said before, I'd like to put all the logic at the top. So the color will just be the Quickit theme. We can take the color of primary color. That should give us at least the green colors. Yeah. So there we go. So what do we have more? So let's actually refactor this some. It's a lot harder to code with with the text so big. So what we're going to do now is actually refactor this into methods. I've also read that you want to refactor it into stateless widgets, but I don't see the reason to do this on simple text objects. I would do that actually on more complicated things, but I wouldn't do it on this. Maybe someone can correct me, but I don't see the reason to do it for this. So what we can do is extract a method. We can use a build title. There we have the title. So what I always like to do is put the methods above the build method. So if I go to a new page or anything, I can always scroll to the bottom and see my build, instead of it being somewhere in the middle or somewhere at the top, depending if what I have on the page. So let's do the same for the button. And we can control dot, we can extract method, build on. Take this. Hey, game over. Game over. Game over. How are you doing? There we go. There we have the read photo and a subtask. So what's the next step? So the next step will actually be So I'm thinking if we should actually do the action of pressing the button. Don't really know in my head on how to do the pop-ups. Search. Really? Nice to see you here then. Have you been looking at it or are you stumbling by? Flutter. That moment when I actually search on how to create a pop-up and I find my own tutorial. But I don't want to create a pop-up menu button. Pop-up dialog. I find my own tutorial. So let's see. What would be a nice way of doing this? Can he have a method called build dialog, maybe? Going to price the context. Hello, Persanda, how are you doing? Show the dialog. Let's see what it actually requires us to have. How to make the on-tap events in a list view. I will probably make the design be pretty much the same on iOS. I don't have a Mac right now streaming, so I can't actually show the design, but it's pretty much the same. So what actually will be a bit different is just the scroll physics and everything. Awesome. Have a great day, Mosamel. Hope I didn't pronounce that wrong. So how do you explain more what you mean game over? Do you mean objects in a list view or just objects in the list view, like this button right here? So how I make the on tap and everything? Or if you want me to be able to press this title. It all depends. So this button is a simple on tap. It has the functions in it. But if you want to make a text, you can do just like ampersand right there, wrote there. So there is the gesture detector and also the inkwell, probably some more. So what we are required to have is text. Type arg with generic function. Let's just string. Yeah, let's just make a void then. There we go. So I can show you here. So if I want this read hypothesis to be untapped, I can go to our build title. It's fast. There I have the text. If I want to make this tappable, I can just simply not do that. I can simply wrap this with a new widget. And I can either use the gesture detector, like this. And that has a on tap and on double tap and everything like that. We also have the inkwell. And that's similar, you have the on tap, on double tap. Just that inkwell will give a visual feedback. So show you. Right now, if I would press this title, it will give a visual feedback of me pressing. If we would have a gesture detector, that will just be, I can refresh it. it will be tappable, but it won't give any visual feedback. So that is how you would add a on tap function to a normal widget like that. And for like buttons and everything, they already have an on tap. So as you can see here, I have it on pressed in this raise button. If you have for your list view, or if you have using a list view and then list tiles inside that, I think list tiles have a on tap function in them already, so you don't have to wrap them in anything. Let's see, where were we? Yeah, we're going to use this show dialog. So barrier dismissal, and we can make it this actually. Don't think going to have builder. What does it take? A build context, okay. Be easy. We take the context, give it a named. So this will happen as we open. So let's turn to return. Let's return a alert dialog. So alert dialog, see what that takes. It requires refers a comment. That's the only thing it actually needs. Pretty fun. Let's just call this and see what happens. And it takes the context, so we have to do a closure to see if we can get something to actually show our work here. So yeah, that was what I was thinking. So we have this dialog coming up, but as you can see, there's no actual dialog. We have to return something in this alert dialog. So what we're going to return is probably title and a context, and we're going to have some actions also. So the action would be like an OK action for adding this task. So if we go back to the design, here, if we go back, new subtask would be the title. So let's create a text. Call it new subtask. So there we have a pop-up with a new subtask. And we're going to have a content. Text field, right? If we, yeah, there we have the text field. And we're going to have some actions. Actually, if I look at the design, we can see that we have a cancel and a start. So I don't know why we have a start here, actually. Save, probably. Let's see if we can I actually move that and set a width. Or is it locked? Oh well. I understand what I've done at least. So what we are missing now is the actions to actually confirm that what you have typed in is correct. And we'll just don't actually think we will need a block for this one. So my reasoning for not using a block is dependent on how complicated the view actually is. So if it requires a ton of logic or similar, I would actually create a block for that. And there is sometimes a reason why I would create a block and a stateful widget and different things. So format that, we have the actions. So let's add a flat button. Tap. Tap. Valid const value of see if we can get a button. We can see that we have our first button right there. And the color should be primary color. And the hot relay on that. There we go. There we have a So what we're going to have also is a cancel button, right? Add a cancel button. That gets updated. Yeah, there we go. So let's add a logic at the top. So with the Cupertino widgets, you can actually build a layout that looks very, very similar to a iOS design. I just prefer doing everything in the same design, both on Android and iOS. So you could have ways of displaying a iOS styled designed app on a iOS device, or you can have it, and on Android you can have Android design. But I just prefer to have the both on the same, or both of the design should be same for me. I feel like that will be probably more future proof. That's probably just me, maybe. So let's see, we have this, right? So one of the buttons will be in, but that's just for me to see it. So below the color, we'll have a child with a text. Alert message will. Not this one, I think. This will be the same for both. Trying to. Or will it actually be that? Maybe somebody in the comments can correct me. I don't actually remember. And I have actually one. Yeah, I think you have to define if the show dialog will be a Cupertino, because this alert dialog actually comes from comes from the material. So if I would have Cupertino design, I could make a pop-up for the Cupertino, I believe. I haven't actually tried it, but I think that should be. So all the components or everything is using the material right now. That is just for a way so I can easily follow the material design and make everything more simple. In my eyes, at least. So we have this, we can have create here. So let's see which button that actually is. That's super hard to read. Oh my god. That actually that. So let's final theme dot off. So for the create button, we can add a styling. Take the theme dot text, primary text color, button. Go, there we have our white text. And we will remove the color of this button right here, but we will still add a child to that. So child for this will be cancel. But I'm still thinking if we should actually have a cancel button, or if we'll be able to press outside. I don't actually remember if. Let's add a cancel for now. 18 iOS. So there are packages to make this more easier. But pretty much you will have to create your widget for iOS and for Android if you want them to change between Android and iOS. So if you want the whole application to look as a iOS application, both on Android and iOS, you can make that really easy with just one widget. But I believe if you want to make them both and then change depending on if you're on iOS or Android, you would have to make 2 widgets. So one with the iOS design and one for the Android design. Or you could just put some I'm afraid I'm giving some wrong information. I haven't actually tested it so much. I believe, let's check if there should be a, let's go to the Flutter packages. Platform widget. Flutter platform widgets is an example. So how do they do it here? Yeah, so here's a example package that's very easy to use. So this will just return a platform widget. So if you're on iOS, it can return the Cupertino icons, and if it's on Android, it will return the Android icon. So there is ways to do this easier than what I described. Let's see. The text of the cancel button should, right now it's blue. Why is it? Have it as now. Click 9. And this will call navigator.off. Can't do that, right? Okay. Maybe I'm completely off. So let's see. We can create a task and we can pop this out. We can add some text, cancel. That seems to be working, right? So I will not add a logic for this text field just yet. Maybe I'll just use a text editing controller. Yeah, let's do that. So the text editing controller, we will use to task controller. I can explain it as we go. There we go. Now we can set this to final. So what we'll use this text editing controller for is to get the value out of this text in a just simple manner right now. So if we go to a text field right here, we can set the controller to our text name controller. Not constant anymore. You do. There we go. Now we can get the task or the name when we press create or something similar. So what we're actually going to do now, let me just demonstrate this. So for the whole application, let's go to our, there we go. So when I start the application, I'm actually creating a master block. So this block is used throughout the whole application. And then I have a block for depending on the pages, right? But I also always have a block that I can reach anywhere. And that will be placed in the run app. So if I go to the master block, we can see that I have the init method that will just initiate my resources. So what we're going to do in here, we're going to have a method that will add tasks to our add subtask to our task, right? So when we tap this button, we can fill in a name, so testing, right? And then we could create that subtask, but we have no way of actually creating the subtask. So what we're going to do is add a function to our master block. So add subtask. And this will take a Subtask View. I think that's capital. Subtask View, that. There we go. So inside here, let's add a comment for this. Create add subtask to stream. So let's see what actually we're going to inside here. We're going to go to my resources. We are going to. We actually need one more thing, right? So what we actually need, or yeah, let's go to my resources. Don't remember this. So in the user, I have a list of task views. Yeah. So I actually have to have the index of which task we're in also to add this. So I will have, scroll down to the bottom. We will need the subtask and also the indexed. That way we can go to our tasks, task views at index. So that will give us the task we're working with. So final task, or it actually returns a task view. So now with this we can actually do task view dot and the add, that's right, or didn't we? So that's it there, subtask. We have the list of subtasks. We can add the task we have used, or the subtask we just passed in here. That, and then we can just call our in resources add and then pass in our resources again, or our updated resources. So that will make us that, yeah. So let's go out of here. So let's start by creating the list. So the list will be, if I show this page right now. If I show you this page, we have our read Harry Potter. If I go to info, we get to read Harry Potter and then let's create subtask. So the next thing we're going to have is actually a list of subtasks. And if we don't have any items in that, it will just not display any items, right? So if we go to should I add that task directly? So the problem I'm thinking of right now is that I haven't implemented the logic of actually checking the field if it's typed and then on the create add that task before we create in the list. I'm thinking if we should do that before we create the actual list. I want to make everything as much visually changing as possible so you can actually see a difference and not just stuffing in the background, right? But yeah, let's just make a list first. So the list will just be very, very simple. So inside this, not inside this row, so inside, not build button, there we are. Inside here, we're going to have a list view. And we're going to create, I believe. So the item builder, take the build context. So it will just take the context. Index. I believe that So it already knows the type, so we don't actually have to specify the types. So for this builder, we're going to return depending on, actually have to set size also, or length. What is where is it? Item extent. I think count it is. Yeah, so we actually have to get count somewhere. So the count is right now 0 because we don't have any subtask, and we can get that actually from task, right? We can get our task widget.task. We take our widget.task and we call our subtasks, and then we get the length from that. So right now it won't return any values. We don't have anything. And there will be one more problem, I believe. Yeah. So because we have a list view here, and then we're putting a list view inside that, we'll have to make the scrolling of one of them not to work, or the one in the inside at least. So we have to set the physics. So no scrollable physics, or never scrollable physics, maybe. We set that to a const value. And then we set the, oh, I don't remember the name. I always forget it. Shrink wrap to true. So what this will do is that the physics will make this list view not scrollable, and the shrink wrap will actually just, what I've understand from it at least is that it will expand the list view to the full size directly, so it will not have a special height and then just making that scrollable. Instead it will expand to the height that it needs. And as we have a list view here, it has any, like, it has the full height, whatever it needs, so it has infinity height. So what we're going to return here is that we're returning a text just of task. And thanks for the subscriptions, Sudin. I think I pronounced that right. Probably not. So we can take the widget.task, and we're going to get something, right? We're going to get the subtasks. So we can do this. So we have this index right there. That will call a name, right? But instead of writing this thing out all the time, let's copy this. We can create final subtask, and set that equal to this. So that way we don't have to rewrite this all the time. Now we have the subtask.name. If I would refresh this, we should actually not see any difference at all. So this will just be a list of text widgets, right? So what we're going to have to implement now is that we have to implement our actual creation of this subtask. So we'll not have any type of error checking right now, or at least pretty much know that I will type something in and then creating just to add that. And we'll add some error checking later. So we have this, close this off. Have this build pop-up, build button. So inside this build button, right here, we are getting the text editing controller. We're passing values in. Then here we have the save method, right? So we create a new method called create task, or create subtask. That way we can just call this here. If we just try this out, we add some print rating. And we take up the debug window, clear this up. And if I would testing, press create there, we can see that we print our creating. So now we can work out of this method. And what we're going to do is actually creating our subtask from this value of the text. Let's just make something simple. So let's, if the task controller is text, so the input we are put into this input field is empty. If it doesn't have anything, we'll just return and not display an error message for now. So what we're going to do now is actually creating a new subtask. So create subtask. It's not what we're going to do. Subtask view. And if that. Task view. And we can create this to a final. We can go to this one. We can create a constructor. Subtask view. We're going to add some things. So the ID we're not going to add inside the view, but we will add the name and the create date and complete date. The complete date we will not add because we're not completing it. We can actually add the create date inside here. So what we're going to do is actually set the complete date to date time.now, or not complete date. Change that up to create date. And we're also going to set the task ID, I believe, because we actually have that. We can actually ignore that for now because I see some problems with. So now we can have this create instead. So what this actually takes now, we can add this to like that. So we get the name. So the name will just be the task name controller.text. So that way we can create our subtask. And what we're going to do next is call our create subtask on master block. So we have actually created our subtask right here. So if I would push create, we will get here. And what we're going to need to do then is we're going to first off navigator.context. We need to pop out of here when we push create, right? If I would push create now, we can also get out. Oh, that down again. So what we need now is the master block. We could pass it down here, but we will just add a can make this as it looks. Cannot do that. But as we can see now, we are going to create our master block. And we have a, if I go to my other code, I don't remember how to. We go to our task body page. We can go to our did change dependency for that code. And change the name. So with this did change dependency, we can actually fetch the master block instead of fetching that inside the build. So we have to pass it around to every method we're going to use it in. So instead we're just passing it here so we can have a class variable instead. So that way I don't have to pass in the master block inside here. We can just pass it here or use it here. So the master block, and we're going to add subtask maybe, yeah. So we need the index, right? And this will be the more confusing part. So first off, we can add a subtask, which works. And the index. So where do we get the index? We could do a query for this, or a query we can do a check to find the index task. Try that actually. Maybe it works. So we go to our master block. close this. Instead of passing the index, we can see if we can do a final my resources task dot let's go from the top, see what we have. Remove at set range, insert. Is there only index off? And to get the item of the index where. I don't actually want to make a query for that. It seems very unnecessary. Let's do this then. Index off. We pass in the subtask view. And take type task view. Yeah, let's just get the index of that task instead. Because we're actually just passing the subtask. That would even still make us pass in the task, which I don't actually want to do. So let's add a final index. Int index. Index. And I'll put both of these to required. We don't use this page without actually adding the index and everything. The formatting. That should make us get an error. Yeah, I know I have this error, but jet index. And we created this subtask here, right? You see that I already gave it a name, the sub goal also. This sub goal. Oh well, index will be have an index inside here, right? Actually, don't have that. Why don't I have the index? Good. Let's just ignore this. Let's remove that. We remove the index we use. Let's just pass in the task directly. And get task. So task view. Task. So we're going to. So we need the index of the task, right? So we have a list of tasks. So that would be in my resources.user.task views. And we are getting the index of our task. That will be the index. Now we can get the task view. And that we want. That is correlating to our list, right? So let's see. I'm thinking of this. This can be final. Let's go back to our sub goal task. Let's just try it. Doesn't hurt to try. See if we get an errors and see if it's. So we have the hypothesis. Oh, we create a subtask. Read page 10. Oh, there we go. We actually get the update sim. So read page. Yeah, so we said sim to be getting that working. Let's all back and go. Works. I would. Yep. Okay, so we got that working. Didn't actually need the index. We could actually get just index from the off in the list. Just pass in the task. Makes it a bit more hard to read, so I will later probably use the index instead to pass in here, as I've done before. Just pass in the index of the task I'm changing. So let's see. We look at this. Up a bit. So we can see that we have a bit of complicated design right here. It really depends if we're going to do it this way or we're going to do a similar way of I've done before. Is for consistency, maybe we should do the same way. So the way I'm thinking of is that you create subtasks like this, and then you have the subtask, and when you're done with it, you can either add them or delete them. Haven't actually made that animation ever in Flutter. Fun to do. Maybe we will not live stream. We should be able to at least be able to complete them. We have a delete and a. Or let's just make it like this first. It probably will be more easier to understand. Yeah, let's do it like that. So let's go to tasks. So we have this read page 10, read page 11. That's because we're just returning a text, right? So we can return instead a list tile. So for the title of this list tile, we take the we can take the subtask.name. Now at least we have some bit of spacing. So we have a on tap on the list tile, which we will not use. I'm not complete off. Also a while ago I created this checkbox. I have a checkbox. Let's add the delete first. So we have the trailing, have the link, which will be a icons dot. That's how that looks, which should get this delete button. We can add some on tap on this also. Let's just make it like this for now. Wrap this in a widget called inkwell. We will format this. Have the on tap. And we'll just make closure at that. That will make us at least be able to press this. Not that nice though, but it works. And there we go. So what we're going to do now. So a Flutter. Could you actually take dismissible to drag it to left and right? Be able to do that, right? Let's go to the task body page. Missable. Was it not task body? No, create task. So not the task, we go to our create task, we go to the page, missable. There we go, dismissible. So a dismissible have a onDismissed, and then it takes a direction. We can actually decide which direction it takes. Okay, so if the direction is okay, but we can actually work with the dismissible instead, I think. Yeah, sure, I can save it as content. Didn't actually know that so many would enjoy this kind of live stream. It's really enjoyable to do, and I actually get some things complete on my tasks as well. So let's think of this for a minute. So either I can create this list tile as I designed, which I should do as I designed it, but I feel like this will be not that clean, right? So for me, this would be a lot more cleaner. So if I would set some, let's imagine that these are tasks, right? So my idea of making this is, instead of making these checkboxes there, we can just mark them as complete, and then they would disappear. We could actually, no, let's make them actually like that, because we don't actually want to dismiss them. When I think about it, we want them to be, if I navigate back, I want to see which task I've actually created or completed. So yeah, that design should be good. So let's keep with that then. So we have this read page 10, read page. Oh, thanks, Ty. How you doing? So we have this delete, and I haven't actually added any padding or anything, so this will be a very small space to press. We can ignore that for now. We can make this circular and everything in the end. A way to do that would be to wrap this icon in a container. You can actually set the container's height and width and then clip it to be a circle. That way you can add it on top and make it a circle, and also add colors and everything if you want that too. So we have the task name, and we're going to have the checkboxes. So I think on how we'll actually create the checkboxes. So the trailing will be the widget in the end, I believe. I would put the that will be in the end, maybe, yeah. So we'll create a checkbox. And the checkbox, as it requires some things. So let's see what it requires. It requires us to have a value. Yeah, that makes sense. And it requires to have a unchanged. So what I'm thinking of the value will actually be, we go back to our top and we can go to our task view. We can see that we have a list of subtasks, right? And this is the subtask view. So I change this depending on what I want actually in the view. So this won't be replicated exactly like that in the database. So we have this create date and complete date. And actually, to make this more easier for me in the front end, I can set a bool to is completed. Like that. And we can, let's just default that to false now. Should we display it? Yeah, when we create one, we'll set this to false because it's not completed, right? So what I can do with that now, so if I go back to the bottom, we can set first the value, which will be the subtask. It have a subtask. we can set it to is completed. So what we have more is a, there we go. But now we don't have any value of any way of changing this. So that would be the unchanged, right? So we can take the unchanged, and if I just go back, you can changed. So this takes a bool and then to a method void. We can take the bool right here, so it will be a bool of is checked maybe. So what we're going to do is set the subtask. We're going to set state actually. No, we're not actually going to. This will actually be a change in the block, I think. If we go to the block, we're going to add another method called maybe check subtask. So as I don't have the index right now, I'll just take the same as this. And take, well, so this way, or right now we can take the task view. Let's see. Right. Right now we want to change the right subtask also. Maybe we can pass in the index right now. If we go back to the subtask, we have our list, right? And it takes the index. So maybe we can just pass in the index. I feel like this will result in some problems, but this is by that. So check subtask, it will be taking the index. Remove this. Or it will take task and then index. So with this we can task index. So we get task view, and we can also get the subtasks at the place of index, and we can call this subtask. Go. This will actually be there. Oh, so now we have the subtask. So what we're going to do now is pass also Boolean. So if we press this, we want to pass in true, and if we press it again, we want to pass false as we did it. It will also take a bool is checked. So right now we can take the subtask and we can check the completed. We can just simply assign that to is checked. I think that should be actually. So we have this create subtask. We go back to our here. So take it on change. Let's see if we can do this math block. Task I don't check subtask. It takes the widget.task, takes the index we have, and is checked. Let's try that. We don't actually get any way of thinking if it go to the info, the chapter 10. We don't get the actual feedback, so I don't believe it's actually the method is wrong with. Probably just that we have. So if we go back again, you can see that actually press it, right? So go to the subtask, probably get some error. Oh, no error. But we can't press it, so are we getting to this method? Testing. Yes, let's just see if we get to the method at all. I can see right now that it actually changed. So the thing I'm thinking of, so if we can see again, if I do a hot reload, you should see that this actually changes. So if I press it, we can see nothing changes. And then we update again, or make a hot reload. It should change. So how can we make this here? Let's go back to the task, not the task card. Subtask. This one. So what it actually doesn't do is build that as we create this, right? Why is that? We have the value of the subtask, which is complete. Index. So I bet this would work if we would use eSetState. I don't actually want to do that, but let's just try it. SetState. How do you actually write this SetState? There we have the SetState. So what we can do is take the subtask completed and set that to the is checked. So that should work, but this is not changing the actual. We could actually do it like this, using the set state for this. Yeah, I can use the set state, but I'm just thinking of how I can utilize the block. But I think this is better maybe, because the block will actually re-render this list or this widget. So I'm thinking of using a set state, and actually when we navigate back, it will actually update with the block we're using. So what the block will do is actually change this read Harry Potter task throughout the whole application. I believe, or is it actually? Yeah, as this actually only changes the. There is some problems with this. The UI is working great. We can uncheck this and check this, and if we would go back and go back in, it saves that. But I'm just thinking for when implementing this to the backend. So when we set the state and using or setting this to complete, we want to also update the database. And for the database update, I have that inside here. Let's just remove this and use the print value of this. So let's print this Boolean instead. Let's just see if we are actually changing this one. If we go back, And of course we have to call this. Like that. And we create or call our master block check subtask task. Let's make it like this for now. Instead of Java native for Android. I was actually into making Android app with Java before. I worked at it for like a couple of months maybe. For me, personally, I just got annoyed very much with this recycle view. I could get it working and everything, but it was so much boilerplate code to just get it working and then using the hero animation between sites and everything, or pages. So when I saw Flutter for the first time, I actually tried to test it out. And all of those behaviors or problems I got with Android normal development were a lot easier to handle with Flutter. So I would actually try Flutter if you haven't done it before. It can be a bit intimidating to see this kind of this kind of nesting if you're not used to it before. But as you work with it, it becomes really, really obvious what you're doing. Especially if you are used to object-oriented programming, because all of these are just instantiation of classes. So the task is actually a class of text that extends the stateless widget. So you're just defining classes instead of actually having to use XML and designing up your layout. So I would give Flutter a try. If you're only looking to do specific things and only developing for Android and already know Java, I wouldn't do. I still would have stuck with Android if that was the case. But if you want to try something and maybe develop something more, I would look into Flutter. Good that I'm not the only one. I didn't feel like that was innovating at all using that recycle view. And they just kept reading more and more about it, and they used the Android team that was developing recycle view had another list view or something, I don't remember, and they made a recycle view because that was too confusing to update or something like that. Yeah, it was very, very weird. Do we have it to true? I don't have it to false. Okay, but then we can actually good that you find something useful at least. I've been working with you. I would at least try Flutter, like nothing to lose. You could get up very fast to start developing anything. It just takes me quite a bit more to develop right now because I actually have a workflow that I've decided with, and I'm not completely comfortable with developing this way right or yet, so it takes some more time to get used to. Before I didn't use the block pattern. I've used scope model and other ways to create apps. So that's why I only have 3 parts of the block tutorial up. I don't actually want to create more block tutorials unless I actually know what I'm doing. So, let's see. So when we check this value, we update the UI with a task. And as we can see here, when I check the subtask, we can see that it prints that it is complete. Yeah, no problem, man. So we actually update the value in the in the task view. So what we're going to do here and we have it. So what we're going to do here is update database with object value. We don't need this. We only need the task and the index, so we can get that. So just for an example, we can create sub or print this actually. Yes, I know what I'm doing later. Subtask is complete. So what I'm thinking of later is actually if I want to update this right now when I press the actual value, or if I want to call when we go back. The dismose method is actually calling a stateful widget. So we could also call the save to the database or the escapelite when we press the back button. For now, let's just save it as we go like that. So what we're going to do now, let's see in the checkbox what we have more, if there's anything more but that we need. So we can have an active color. We can have that to green. Primary color, we can still have it to blue. Let's just have it to blue. I haven't really decided if we're going to use the setup anyway. Let's close this off. So there we have the trailing, which is just the last widget of a list tile. We go back to the design. It looks a bit more clean than my design. So, but right now we don't have any way of actually task. Let's add a function. So inside this inkwell of this icon delete. Here we want to have another method that actually here delete subtask. This will pretty much be the same as this one, but instead of adding, we will instead delete. Remove. We can actually pass in the object directly and remove it. Let's do that instead. We don't actually need all of this. Task view. We still actually need those, so ignore me on that. So we can remove the task views. Task, yep. And then we update the stream. So with this method, we should be able to subtask and delete the past in, and then we can add this. When we call this method, it should become a bit more clean to read. And we go like yeah, Dart was really easy to use. I actually work with C# and then some Java when I tried Android Studio. And Dart was pretty much interchangeable with these two. So what we're going to do, yeah, master block, delete subtask. We get a widget of task. And we want the subtask. So if I would delete that, it doesn't do anything. If I would hot reload, what would happen then? Why is that? Is that because we're not changing the value comes in? Let's see. These are some problems that could occur when working with block, I've noticed. So you can get pretty confusing on where the object actually is or when it's actually updated. So let's try to figure this out. So we delete the subtask, we call a method, and then we are adding the. Let's just do this for now. So we get the task view, subtasks, and then we also do that before, just to see if we are deleting to begin with. So we go to info, we create a subtask. Clean this up, delete it. So first off, we had 1 in length and then we had 0. So that is working. So why is not the view updating? So this is up when we hit refresh. So let's see if we find some Flutter life cycle. Don't actually remember what it's called. Or that's the problem. So the problem is that it's not up to task. Jeez, no, not that. Go to the task. Task. I see where the problem is coming. Is it because we have Filler actually have is let's the here. Add some calls. We add I will have to actually bug check this later. Let's for now do like we did the other one. Check where the widget. So this doesn't seem to update. If we go back task card, you can see that that is passed. We look at task, the widget, task body page, get the task. A bit smaller. Okay. All with the snapshot. So let's add some print statements. See what we're doing. So we need to take our my resources. Yeah. User.task views. We take the one at position 0 because we know what that is. We take the subtask, then print the length of that. Connect right here. Do that here. So we clear this up. So it's 1 inside there. We go to inf again. 1. Type the delete. That should be 0 then. Why is this not updating? That should be updating. Let's try something else then. Index of tasks. Do the same here. Take this here. Get task dot comment this out. Create a task. We delete. Doesn't make it called. So let's actually try one. Take our print statement, put it in the build method. It can be because our build method isn't rebuilt. Create this. Yeah, so it's because it's not rebuilt. should rebuild all the children. Yeah, I should be able to call set state, and that should fix it, as hot reload is fixing it. The thing I'm having a problem with is that I'm using this master block. And when I call the delete subtask, we are pushing this out to the stream. And I have this page right here. So if I would show this, and we create a new subtask, so let's call it testing. As you can see, this subtask is, or this print is updated as we're doing something, right? So the length will change as we create something. There we have 2. And let's just go back because it's not updated. This one already knows it's 2, but the page is not updating. So if I would remove this, this would know right away that it's 1. The thing I'm thinking of is that it's not rebuilding the child page. And it may be because it's a stateful widget, but I don't know why that is, because I have stateful widgets, but maybe it's because I have multiple of them. So a fast solution would be to just call a empty set state like this. And maybe I will do that just for continuing with this. So a fast solution would be to just call set state here. And that would be deleted. But I should not be needing to call set state as the parent widgets are rebuilding. And this just may be me missing something. So some Twitters. So I could just call set state like that, and that's why probably this was not working as well. Yeah, let's just have it like this for now. I feel like we will just use a state for this anyway. And we can call the updating when we actually close it. Let's see. Well, at least we have something working, right? We can create a new subtask. So what task are we in? Read Harry Potter. So let's read chapter. Read chapter 10. So there we have our task. So we can mark that as finished. And that would mean that it's finished when we navigate outside this also. And we can make it unfinished again. And that's the same. So we could also delete it completely. That would probably give us some pop-up, or if you want to delete this or something like that. But we'll have it like that for now. So read chapter 10. So the next step is some kind of note. I don't really like this design at all, but will just be a title. And below the title, we just have a simple multi-line text field, I think. Yeah, let's go with that. So close this off. we can add as many only crit. Okay, so why didn't that update? It actually doesn't do it the other times. So we're having some small issues with stream. Maybe we're using the wrong way. Check this. Task card, it has maybe we'll just pass the index down instead of the task. I see that the task is giving us some, because it's not a real. Instead, we can use the index of the task, and we should be able to get the right updates. So let's pass down the index instead. That should make something make more sense. So let's see. So first off, we have this task card. Add a required index. Here, final int index. Like that. And for the, if I had that open, or not. That we are navigating to this task, which will instead of a task be a index. Yeah, we should. We should get the index instead. So in the task body, card also requires a index. So we can pass the with index, as the index would not. Let's see. The index isn't defined, and that's because we don't have a defined index. So int index. This will give us tons of errors. So what we're going to actually do is create a stream builder, I believe. Yep. Let's take this whole view list view, cut this out. Create a stream builder. So the stream will be the master block. The block dot out resources. Initial data. Should not be able to, should not need to do this. We should not be have to create additional stream builders if we already listen to the stream builder. Let's go back to this again. Let's give it a task. Let's remove the index. Let's remove the index here. Instead, we have to figure out why this task is not updating. And the application stopped working. Sweet. And we have an error. So that's because this page doesn't take task anymore. So should not do this also. So this is a bit hard to debug. So let's go to our card, task card. Inside this build method, we should be able to print testing whenever something is built, right? If we go to output, we go to a task. If I would press, not output, the debug console, there we go. So there we can see that the testing started when I press play and pause, as that triggers the build method. If I would go to info, it calls the build method again, create a subtask called test, and that rebuilds the UI as it should. When we pass this one in, we're not calling the test as it should, but when we press delete, that seems to be working. So if we go to Subtask again, and we call our lit task, we create a task, and it's sitting, so we create a task, and I delete this. Yeah, so it calls the build method of this. What was it I call it on? Card, right? Yeah, so the card works. Yeah, now I see what I'm doing. So all the widgets gets rebuilt, right? So if we go back up here, we will actually have to create a stream builder. So the thing I was thinking about is that a child of a widget, so when the build method was called, as you saw, which component is responsible for rebuilding the full widget tree? If you go to main.dart, we can see that we call our Wikit app. So with this app, we call our homepage. And inside here, I have a stream builder, which just listens to my master block. So when this changes, I want to rebuild like the widgets that's used. But I found a problem. So the problem was when we actually rebuild something. So when this is called and we are rebuilding the tree, the pages that we navigate to isn't actually rebuilt all the time. So I'll show you what I mean. If we go to, not the task page. I have too much open right now. So the task card, we're actually navigating. So that's why we could print here. So if we go back, and we call info, we create a subtask test. As you can see, this is called rebuilding all the time, rebuilt. But when we press the delete, rebuilds it, but it's not actually passing in this new task. So how can we actually? It's rebuilding this page, but the page is not rebuilding as we are pushing this page. Maybe we'll have to make really sense, right? Because it's rebuilding this one and we navigate to that one. It becomes pretty confusing right now. So we have the task. The task should be rebuilt. So if we go here, we can take the widget.task. or the task is state. Oh yeah, it's a state. So we can take the subtasks and then set into the length. So if we go to info for this one, we can see the length of the subtask is 0. We can create one. That should make it 1. So this is pushing out 1. And when I delete it, it's pushing out 0. So this page actually doesn't get rebuilt. And that I do not know why actually. This should be rebuilt. If we go to our task page, let's see where we're doing it. So our task page is actually getting the index. We're not passing the task. It's reminting. Yes, so that is rebuilt, yeah. And let's see. So on the page that is working, this page, which is just the tasks page, I see that we are using the index as I was thinking of before. Or is it that one? No, there we see, we're actually using a stream builder inside here. So to resolve this error we're having, that the widget is not updating when the stream is updated, is because we have to actually use a stream builder inside here. Actually, go back to this again. So if we look at this list view, take this list view and cut this out. We'll call our stream builder. So the stream will take our So let's return this. Take some initial data and and if we do not have any data, don't actually want to show it. So if the snapshot dot as data false, let's just return a size box. There we go. So for the stream, we're going to pass in. So if we check this task page, we can see that I have a my resources as the type of the stream builder. Let's pass that in. And for the stream, we can take the master block out to resources. And we do not need these two, as the type is already known. The type up here, so it already knows which types these are. So right now we have the resources of everything. So that would mean that our final task would be our snapshot data, get the user, we have the task views dot index of. So let's see if we can make this code a bit more cleaner. So actually we need the index of the task we're on, right? We could pass down the index. That would probably make it a bit cleaner, but for now we'll not do that. So we can get the index of the task view element. So that would be the widget.task. As that is not updated all the time, we'll have to actually pass down the index. like we were doing before. So this page needs a index, final int index, required this.index. So where we use this is on the, where did we, so let's just refresh this. And we go to the task page, task card, not on the task page. Let's see where we were using. Close that off. So the task card also needs to pass down the index to our sub goal. So let's call it index x. And in this one, we create a x index. Make these two required. Like that. So let's see, what are we doing now? We're passing down the index. I feel like we're missing something. We should probably make an inherited widget later with this, as I seem to be passing quite a lot of things down. If I go back here, we go to our task page. If we close this create task, we have our home page, which we don't need. We have our task body. There we have our index of the task, right? Yeah. So the task card requires a widget.index. So there we go. There we have the index passed down to our sub goal page. So with this index now we can make this a bit more easy to understand. Yes. We have the stream builder. We return the list view. And the list view actually needs a task, right? So we're going to create a final task equal to the snapshot data user.task views at widget.index. So there we have a task, but this task should actually be updated as we want. So widget.task and this takes a view task. This also takes a task view task. So there we go. Now we can pass in the task in here. And we are having it on one more place. So create subtask. Requires the task, okay? We'll make a closure and then add the task. Press the task. Now we can go down to here and then pass in the task. Oh, I can see that we have a problem here. I will just do this for now. We can clean this up later. If we refresh this, go to info, test. There we go. Now it's actually deleting it and it's updating. So I found a problem. So the problem is that when we're navigating to a new page, we actually have to use the stream builder again, as it does not update the navigated pages. Well, I could have made that a lot faster if I actually know that. Let's add a git because I haven't added this all. Git add all, git commit. So what have we done? We have created a page. Let's started. So the problem I saw already is that I haven't actually created a branch for this. So let's create a new branch right now at least, so we can start or keep developing on this page without being in the develop page. So if we clear this command line, we can create a new branch. So first off, I already have some branches where I make this. So git checkout. With B, this just means that we are going to change branch and create a new branch. So when you're changing branches, normally you just git checkout and then, for example, master. This will make me check out and go to master branch. But I want to create a new branch. So this will be pages and subtask page. Or no, subtask, sub-goal. I'm confusing the words all the time. Subtask goal. Sub-goal. Goal? Task? Goal? Sub-goal page. Maybe. So there we have created a new branch at least, so we can clear this up. So this branch is, if we do like this, we can see that our sub-goal page is only a local branch. It's not up in the origin yet. So when I'm going to push the next time, Git will actually give me the solution for that. But let's close this down. So we have this set state. And I'm trying to think now, because maybe we actually don't. Maybe we can just make this whole widget stateless. Maybe. We pass in the is checked. Yes, I just want to see if this is getting updated. Just want to see if that is working. So we can actually use the master block to update this also without the set state. I'm not thinking if that's actually a bit cleaner to do. So we can make this a one line. Like that, or two lines if you wish. Let's make, oh no, that wasn't clean at all. So there we go. So the same for this on tap, we can make this a arrow function instead. That. So there we go. Now we have a. Oh, this is really much in the way. I decide where to put this. If you have any questions, you can just hit me up with any questions you like. Probably can't answer most of them, but you can try at least. So the delete is working. And I didn't get a... So let's make this instead, so I can actually see what I'm deleting. Yeah, no, that we know that it's working. Okay, so it's working at least. Yep. And let's see. So this has become a very, very hard to actually see. So what I like to do most of the times, yeah, so most of my application will be built with stream builders. I have some places where I still use set state, and that's mostly just because of animations and a custom. So I couldn't figure out how to actually use only the block to add a conditional statement for this one. If I have selected a save, I couldn't figure out how to make this simple thing, so I just use a set state for that. But the whole application will be using blocks instead. So when a stream is updated, the stream builder will just update the widgets that it uses, or the widgets that use the stream builder. So don't fall into the trap of what I just did. When you navigate to a new page, create a stream builder again, because it won't update the navigated pages. I had actually already done that for this page, but did forget it. So let's see what we're going to do now. So I have this simple build page. We have worked for 2.5 hours and we got this sweet design right here. Let's see. By tabletop. So we could complete this. I won't waste. Yeah, let's make it like that. And so most of this application will be built with a master block, because many of the things I'm using will be reused, and I want to use them in multiple places. So I don't see a reason to create multiple blocks for them. So a place that I have a block that is not the master block is this create page block, and I can show that. Close this down, and if I go to my create page, here's the create page. So I actually have a block for this, which is if it's loading when we press save and when we select days. So I don't have to handle the logic for selecting the days and setting the duration and everything. So that could all be handled in the block. I just didn't figure out how to handle this error checking. Or I could do it on the text field, but I just couldn't do a custom one. So maybe some awesome block pattern pro could teach. So let's see how far we have gotten. Had to be by tabletop. Ugly. Which is nice because I'm not a designer. And we are going to have it. So now comes the problem what I am thinking of. So what we can do is that we can take this whole list view builder right here. We can put that into its separate widget or a stateless widget, so we don't have to actually see it inside this page. And I will probably just do that. So let's go to this list view builder, extract widget, call it list subtask. Class name should start. Oh, of course. Extract widget. Subtask. Subgoal and we're going to remove the new. So this created a stateless widget for us to use. So, which is pretty easy because we can now just take this whole code right here, cut this out. We create a new folder inside this task subgoal. Just call it. There's probably a better structure for this, and this is just what I am used to. Remember the name. Yet. Subtask list, maybe. And of course a art file. Paste it in. And we have to implement the material. And a block. And everything else. There we go. Now when we go back to this one, we can import the library and we can format that. So now we are not on 200 lines anymore, and we have the same way of working. So that's what I usually do if a widget is pretty big. I often refactor it to a new widget, so a stateless widget most of the times, and then just pass in the properties that it needs. If I would just make a simple build title like that, I would not create a widget for that. As most of the times I'm creating different types of titles. Maybe it's a way to do that. But there we go. There we got the sweet tasks. Yeah. Let's just see if this works. We can set them to complete and not complete, and we can delete. Okay. Okay. So the one thing I'm thinking of now is that this will be the problem. So if I would create a text right here, text, and so that would be below this builder, right? And depending on how many of these I actually create, that would be pushed down. So I'm thinking of actually having that at the top instead. I hope that sound is not... Okay, good. Got some background noise. So what I'm thinking of is I will create it at the bottom, but then probably move it somewhere else. So I will just create all the components that this page will use instead. And then just work it from there. So if we look at this. And we can see that we have the notes. That will just be another title, but will not just title be a row. There we go. We have everything working so far. So I'm thinking of, will we keep trying to do this or will we end it here? Quite a lot to do here. You make note a floating button. So what I'm thinking of for this note actually is a text field. This will not be a button at all. Or do you mean more like that this is a pushable button and that would bring up a text field that I can fill in, or? Still trying to think what I should do. We probably should just make a simple text field and then the value would be for the note directly. Okay. We could do that. I don't think that would make much sense if this should be a... Maybe this doesn't show that well. We could actually do that also. I want to avoid as many pop-ups as I can because I don't think they make it that intuitive in the layout or the UI. But it's very easy. I would actually not make it a button itself, I would make it a custom design. So what I would do is actually create a container, then add shadows to it. Then just add an inkwell so I can press it. Then inside that I can add text. That would make it quite a custom container. Let's just keep it simple for now. Let's just make a simple text field for this. So first off, let's add a title. So we have this text right here. So we have a build title. We can ask, so we don't build it. We can also make it pass in a variable, so that will be title, a string title, and we will default that. Not default to anything, it will actually be null. So that way we can check here. So if title is equal to null, we display that, or else we display the title. So yeah, exactly. We can also refactor later. Maybe we can do another stream. It all depends. This page will probably need quite a bit of refactoring as I'm just pushing in code right now. So we are adding a build title, which is the build table right now. We will add a title. So we added I don't remember what it's called, that one-liner if, to see if we have a title or not. So if I would add a title, hello, that should be rendered instead of this build title, or build table. So what we're going to write inside here is notes. There we have notes. But maybe we should, let's just create its own text, because we'll use a row anyway. And with row we can center everything. Let's just take this text, because we were going to use that anyway. We go down to here, we can create a row method. So this row is going to build a note title. Build note row, maybe. So we are going to return a row, which takes some children. And the first child will be and then it just takes a final theme, like theme, plus off, context. There we have the theme. So we have this, and then we should add a icon to the left of it. If I show you this again, maybe you can put that. Yeah, we have there. Okay, so what we're going to do is add this message button, or yeah, the icon there. We can see that we had some space in between them. So let's first off, we have this text, and that should be on the right side. So let's put it at the bottom. We create a size box. We set a width of 4. Create a constant, and let's just use that so we can see some hot reload. So as you can see here, that so the main axis alignment will be center. So we can get the text to the center, and we're going to have an icon. So icon dot message maybe. Let's just add that. See if I can double click this CM. It's just called vector. Add comment. It's called add comment. Create a constant because we're not going to change it. And there we go. There we have this one right here. We could make, as I can see right now, is that the icon is not completely black. We can set the color to black completely, but doesn't really matter. So let's just ignore that for now. We have the builder. So still the problem that I am facing is that depending on how many we add, the more. Yeah, doesn't matter for now. We're going to add a text field. So I haven't really done this before. So is it a way to do this multi-line? Lines. Int. What does this mean? For. Okay, so that is pretty much what we're looking for. We have a text field. We can add multiple lines on it. So this will display 4 lines. And let's just add 5 lines. Oh. What we're going to do now is add a controller for that also. So we have this task name controller. We're going to add another one for task note controller. We can go back to the bottom and pass in the controller. So on shape. Maybe I will just add a dispose. So when you are done with this, we'll update note. As we don't want to actually have a button to save this, that doesn't really make sense. And we also don't want it to call update as we are typing. We can use the different ways with arcstart to have a debounce, I think it's called. So we are getting or calling a specific function at the end of the typing. But that would also be a problem if they would type 3 words and then stop and then write again. Let's just call it in the dispose instead. So doesn't need to be completely as the design in the beginning. So we're going to add a dispose. 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 So inside here, we're going to call the master block, and we're going to update note. And we're going to pass the index, I believe. So the widget dot index. We're going to pass in the text. So task note controller dot name or dot text. That. If we go to our master block now, we can start implementing that method. Yeah, so this is what I'm thinking of. So what we're going to do now is create a new method called update note. It will take a index and it will take the text, so string text. Or no. View task. Let's just make it same as before. We got the subtask. So now we can just take the subtask, take the note. Oh yeah, right, it's not in the subtask. So we only need the index, I think. The task view, and we take the index. We can remove this code. And we can take the task view index. We already got that. So we can take the task view. Now we can set the note to our note. And we could push this out. Now that if I would type something here, testing, test, like that. If I would go out of here and go back in, we're not setting the value. So we have to have a init state for this subtask code. So init state, not inside there. The list, not working in the list anymore. Working in subtask goal page. So inside the init state, go, remove this. We can take the task note controller dot value, and we can set this equal to task widget dot task dot note, I believe. text maybe. If we update this, we go out and we go back in, and we can see that it changes. So that's working correctly. We have an S, we go out, we can have an S. So everything is working correctly. The only thing that's missing now is actually update with values. If I would, we can check this build table, we can see that we have all of these values. If I would do a hot restart and we are going to fetch all the values again from the database, these values will not be here, right? Because we're not actually saving them to the database. So I will not actually do that. That is for my brother to do. So let's see. Now we should have the basics. And create a subtask. And we can mark it as complete. We can add, this is my note. We would navigate back and go to info again. We have the subtask complete, and this is my note. So everything is working completely. Pretty happy with that. The design is ugly, super ugly, but at least we got all the functions going. I hope somebody could follow me along as I wrote this at least. Maybe this is a bit complicated, or I'm going too fast. You would have to let. But there we go. Got everything working. Is there actually anything more we're going to do now? Have a Trello for this? Yeah. So we complete the add a title, button for creating subtask, list of subtasks, note title, and a note. So everything is completed here. So what we actually have to do now is, or not now, but what we needed, update database with values, refactor. So there we go. There we go. So I think this will be the end of the stream. I think we got pretty far. Style a text field. Yeah, I will not actually do that now because I don't really know how to actually do this styling. I don't actually know if we will actually do the styling that way either. That was just a fast design. But we'll probably, depending if we will have that text field like that, I will probably stream that when I do that design also, if that is wanted. If you enjoyed the stream, be sure to subscribe and follow. Or subscribe and follow, that's the same thing. So be sure to subscribe if you like this kind of content. It seems like it was pretty liked. Maybe we lost a few viewers there now in the end because we have streamed for more than 2 hours, but seems to be pretty good. So if you like the content, please subscribe, and yeah. If you have any questions, just hit me up in the comments. I will be there for a while more. So I will see you in the next video or the next stream. Have a nice day.